The day started like any other morning. Fizzaroli got his coffee while he gave his love Ozzie his wake-up call. Then they both got ready for their jobs. One thing seemed a little odd for Fizz though. He started to get really hot and sweaty. That made it hard for him to practice his act, and his boss, Mammon, was not happy about that. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the heat turned into a chill, leaving the poor little imp shaking on the spot and holding himself.
Fizzy! What the hell is wrong with you? Did you come to work drunk or something?
No, sir. I think I'm just coming down.
Hearing those words was not what the ruler of greed wanted, so instead of understanding and letting Fizz go home, he just pushed him back into practice, and since he was in a situation with an abusive boss, Fizz had no choice but to go back up on stage and work on his act. The poor little thing couldn't stand, couldn't think. The whole room felt like it was spinning, and just as things couldn't get any worse, when Fizz was working on the pie gag with Mammon, he accidentally threw up on him instead of throwing the pie. Mammon wasn't very happy, but luckily, before he could grab Fizz, his bodyguard grabbed him, threw him into his car just in the nick of time, and drove him home. When they got back to the palace, Fizz realised that Ozzie was still at work. He was upset that there was no one to take care of him, but in the meantime, he would just have to take care of himself. He went through the medicine cabinet. Fizz believed that he'd found the very thing that he needed to get better: Theraflu. But after he heated up some water and poured in the mix, Fizz didn't expect the tea to taste so nasty. He tried to swallow it down, but his stomach had a different idea. After he threw up in the sink, he heard the front door open. It was Oz. He was finally home.
Hey, baby.
Hello.
Boy, am I ever glad to be home. You would not believe the requests we got from our customers.
Ozzie?
People asking some of the oddest questions, like wanting dolls based off these favorite anime cartoons, wanting private parts on feet.
Ozzie?
I swear, never a day do I question about the people in my kingdom.
Fizz let out a big sneeze. Those were the last words that Oz ever wanted to hear from Fizz, causing him to go into a panic.
Oh my, baby, you alright?
I'm sick.
What? Fizzy, why didn't you say anything sooner? You need to get to bed right away.
While Fizz laid in bed, Ozzie was kind of overdoing things, like putting down so many blankets that the imp couldn't breathe, and checking up on him every minute. It was moments like these that Fizz hated, because his lover didn't seem to realise that he was treating Fizz like a baby, which was a big issue for him.
Oh, this daddy little boy don't feel good.
Nope.
Well, don't worry. I got something to make you feel better.
When Ozzie brought in a bowl of chicken soup, he couldn't help but comment on how Fizz looked like a tiny little thing in his big bed. As he sat on the bed and got a spoonful of soup, Oz crossed the line again.
Okay, Froggy, open up for Daddy.
With that reply, Fizz refused and just sat there, looking angry.
What's wrong?
Ozzie, you're doing it again.
Doing what?
Treating me like a baby when I ask you to stop. I may be sick and small, but I'm a grown man. I mean, it was understandable when I didn't have my limbs, and you had to do everything for me, but now I can do most things.
The King of Lust's heart broke. He loved the little imp, but sometimes he couldn't help treating him like that. He didn't know how to reply, so the only thing Oz could do was put the bowl on the nightstand and say,
I'm sorry, Fizz. Here, I'll be in the living room or something.
When Oz left the room, the imp started to feel bad about what he'd said, but he still just wanted Ozzie to understand how he felt. Fizz guessed that he was now back to having to take care of himself. The first thing he wanted to do was take a bath. Most of the time, when Fizz took one, Ozzie would have helped him since his robot limbs were not waterproof. But without him around, Fizz was just going to have to find a way to do this by himself. After he filled up the sink, the little imp then took some shrink wrap and wrapped it around his limbs so they wouldn't get wet. But he soon realised this was a bad idea since the soap was hard to grab as well. The water was also getting higher and higher, which caused Fizz to panic. He tried to scream for help, but no one came. He felt like he was in the fire all over again. But this time it was even worse. After a few minutes passed, Ozzie came in to check up on him.
Hey Fizz, don't mind me, I just came in to grab some... Froggy!
When the king went up to the sink, he was horrified to see his boyfriend floating face down in the water. Asmodeus panicked, quickly grabbed Fizz and put him on the table, carefully doing CPR on his tiny little body.
Come on, baby, come on! You came back once, you can do it again! Please, Fizz, don't leave me! I love you, don't leave me! Please, Fizz, don't leave me! I love you, don't leave me!
Thankfully, it worked. Fizz came to and started to cough up water, fully lost on what was going on, but after seeing his love hugging him and crying, he remembered.
Fizz! Oh my god, I'm so happy you're okay!
The imp felt horrible about what had happened. First, he hurt the love of his life's feelings. Then he made him panic, thinking that he was dead. He knew that he had to apologise.
Ozzie, I'm sorry for saying that stuff too. I know you were trying to help.
No, sweetheart, it's me you should say sorry. I know you're not a baby anymore. And you have your limbs to take care of yourself. I should really learn to understand that.
Fizz was happy to hear that, but after all that had happened, and since he was still under the weather, he thought that he could let it slide just this once.